Hi, friends. If you're watching this, you probably already know what's common across these famous personalities: Alan Turing and Albert Einstein. Both great scientists that changed the world. Let's add Mozart to the list. Famous personalities of the past. What if we added Bill Gates and Jerry Seinfeld? All famous men? What if Emma Watson was part of the group? Yes, these are all neurodivergent individuals who have excelled in their chosen field of work and left the world in a better place than how they found it. My name is Vishal Kamat, and I serve on the advisory board of the Equal Council, the Diversity and Inclusion Initiative at IBM's India Software Labs. Inclusion is really nothing new or something to brag about at IBM. It's our way of life. In fact, we hired our first differently abled employee back in 2014. That's well over 100 years ago. So, what I want to share today is our journey, our point of view, and how we are approaching inclusion for specifically neurodivergent individuals in our company today. By no means am I suggesting that this is the best way or the only way, but one way that might be useful for you to learn about and perhaps adopt some part of it in your work environments. But first, let me start with a story. Bill Gates, someone we all know as the brilliant founder of one of the greatest software companies of our times, Microsoft, is dyslexic. In fact, he failed some subjects in school. He was even called incapable of learning. Yet, he went on to build a $125 billion company. Unfortunately, for every Bill Gates out there, there's probably thousands, if not tens of thousands, of neurodivergent individuals who do not even get a job. Not because of anything that they are doing, but because of the environment, circumstance, and people. Yes, people around them. Get this, nearly 85% of college educated autistic adults don't have a job today. And when you really think about it, this is as much a tragedy for those individuals as it is for the entire world. Imagine a world with thousands of additional Bill Gates, Alan Turings, or Mozarts. Yes, the Mozarts and the Einsteins come around once in a lifetime. But let's look at what the average Joe, a neurodivergent Joe, brings to the table. Neurodivergent, by definition, implies the person is wired differently from a typical individual. Put in different words, a neurodivergent individual brings with them skills, a way of thinking, a way of approaching a problem that's fundamentally different from a neurotypical person. For example, autistics tend to have an extraordinary attention to detail. They can assimilate and retain a level of detail that most people cannot. Meanwhile, dyslexics often make great entrepreneurs. Why? Because they're very creative. They can see the big picture and think outside the box, unlike most other people. Now, isn't that a skill that we look for when we hire employees in our teams? In fact, studies show that 32% of neurodivergents bring a new skill, a net new skill, into the workplace, one that did not exist in that organization before. Not just that, but ND talent is as much as 92% more productive and 66% more loyal to their organizations compared to their neurotypical colleagues. Think about that. I can go on and on, but we begin to realize that as we peel the layers and start understanding what it really means to be neurodivergent and what value that diversity brings to a relationship or to a team or to an organization, it becomes very quickly very obvious why neurodiversity is an essential ingredient to building a successful team. In fact, in today's day and age, where there is such an underrepresentation of neurodiversity in the workplace, I would argue that leaders who embrace neurodiversity while building their teams will have a decisive competitive advantage over those who don't. I work at IBM, and neurodiversity is really at the core of this company. People may not be aware, so let me share another story, the story of IBM. Mr. Herman Hollerith was a man with cognitive processing disability. He was also the inventor of the punch card tabulator back in 1886. This machine, the punch card tabulator, became famous when it was used as a part of the US Census in 1890 and saved the government $5 million. Think of the value of $5 million back in 1890. After this success, Mr. Hollerith went on to form a company and called it the Tabulating Machine Company. This company went on to merge with another company to become the Computing Tabulating Recording Company in 1911, or CTR. Ring a bell? CTR was later named to International Business Machines, or IBM as we know it today. So there you go. IBM really has neurodiversity in its DNA. That said, inclusion is not something that we can take for granted. Unfortunately, it is something that we need to work on every day and ensure that we as a company and society at large continue to raise the bar. At IBM, we have taken a very structured approach to building our D&I programs. Very broadly, our initiatives take the path of awareness, acceptance, and advancement. In the awareness phase, we focus on education. This is where we believe the biggest wins are. Helping teams recognize and realize their own unconscious bias, stereotypes that they may carry in their own minds, and even become aware of microaggressions that they may exhibit. This is almost always the first step that is needed. And this is often not easy. And a lot of thought needs to be put into how to first open minds. Only when minds are open can they see the light. And this education is crucial to creating an inclusive environment. People generally want to do the right thing, but sometimes forget to equip themselves adequately with the right knowledge. We often see many well intentioned but ill informed allies who unfortunately cause more harm than good. When your team is self aware and knowledgeable, they need to put their education and allyship to use. They need to celebrate neurological differences. They need to leverage the fact that neurodivergent talent can help fill a skill gap, lead to more revenue, corporate citizenship, and more. In other words, your team needs to walk the talk. Only when we build awareness and increase acceptance will we improve the advancement of our neurodivergent talent. To enable advancement, we need to ensure neurodivergent voices are heard and sought after. We need to absolutely involve neurodivergence at discussions and decisions that affect the ND community. A key responsibility of D&I programs is to ensure the organization is able to offer development and leadership opportunities to retain and empower neurodivergence. At IBM, we established a volunteer group dedicated to neurodiversity back in 2015. Today, we are more than 2,500 neurodivergents and their allies in this group. And we work closely with our HR and talent teams to help hire more neurodivergent people. We also sponsor a global community of neurodivergent IBMers to support each other in a safe space and have voice in decisions. We also represent IBM at global initiatives, the United Nations, etc. There's a lot more to do, and we're just getting started. Thank you very much.